Hello, I'm Comfort Modu. Welcome to the news at 7 on NTA International. Let's start with the headlines. Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 briefs President Muhammadu Buhari. New measures and processes may be introduced. World to mark this year's World Telecommunication and Information Society Day, which comes with the theme Connect 2030, RCTs for the SDGs. Nigerian Air Force Special Forces operatives deployed to Nasser State. Now, details of the news. Leaving no one behind means leaving no one offline. This is the resounding message the United Nations brings to the table on the occasion of this year's World Telecommunication and Information Society Day, which comes with the theme Connect 2030 ICTs for the SDGs. The UN perceives the day rather as a reminder that the international cooperation on digital technology is essential to help defeat COVID-19 and achieve the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development goal. Here's Justin Bemunye with the rest of the report.
May 17 is set aside annually since 1969 as World Telecommunication and Information Society Day. It marks the anniversary of the signing of the first International Telegraph Convention and the creation of the International Telecommunication Union. The day is observed in order to raise awareness on the possibilities of the use of internet and other information and communication technologies in bringing the society and economies together to bridge the digital divide. Now, the United Nations idea is that information technology can be a beacon of hope, allowing billions of people around the world to connect, most especially at this time of COVID-19. And this is the time these connections with loved ones, schools and colleges, workplaces, healthcare professionals and essential supplies are most important than ever.
The International Telecommunications Union continues to work with the information and communication technology community and UN agencies to help manage and end this crisis and recover better. New technologies from 5G and big data to cloud computing and artificial intelligence are powerful tools to tackle the world's most pressing challenges, including the pandemic.
The Nigerian government wants to harp on the opportunities inherent in digital economy as the Minister of Communications and Digital Economy, Isa Ali Pantami, gives indications that the digital economy is the future of revenue generation. Justin Bemunye, NTA News.
All right, joining me in the studio to speak on the World Telecommunication and Information Society Day is the National President, National Association of Telecoms Subscribers, NATCOM, Deolu Ogumbanjo. Glad to have you join us on the news. He's joining us via telephone, rather. Hello. All right, how can we use the World Telecommunication Day on ICT or ICT rather to fight COVID-19? Can you hear me?
Hello? Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, how can we use ICT or telecommunication to fight COVID-19?
Sorry, can you come again?
How can we use telecommunication or ICT to fight COVID-19?
COVID-19 and telecoms.
Yes.
It's synergy now that a lot of businesses and individuals definitely must appreciate that this is going to be now a new normal. It is now okay for us to ensure that we're teaching online, we're holding Zoom meetings, we're doing teleconferencing, all due to telecommunications. And quite honestly, it's a window of a lot of opportunities, particularly now that NCC is looking at broadband, penetration, up to about 40%, in the next 1 or 2 years.
All right. So how best can information technology be used during this period of COVID-19 to make things work for the economy and individuals generally?
Incidentally, you see, COVID-19, like I have told you earlier, it's bringing a lot of opportunities now. In fact, many businesses must, queue onto the new age, this digital age. And I must tell you that if you do not, if you are not technology compliant or digitally, compliant, you may not be able to do today's business. Beyond that is the fact that a lot of activities are going on. Now that we are looking at social distancing, now, we now have to, again, we cannot really gather in a hall to do any meeting. So there we are. Gathering means that we can, of course, do that on, on our phones, on our tablets, on our laptops and all that, doing, some Zoom meetings, WhatsApp meetings, and all that, teleconferencing and stuff. Even, for instance, the Federal Executive Council also, and Governors Forum are also doing teleconferencing. So our business has moved further, right now to ensuring that technology is embraced.
All right, so looking at the theme for this year's Connect 2030 ICT for Sustainable Development Goals, how can ICT be used to achieve the SDG goals?
Quite honestly, a lot should, we have to also look at the operators, in taking us to, the promised land in terms of, development goals. They must also ensure that a lot of penetration is there. Connectivity should be seamless. And again, they must also appreciate that they have to expand, their infrastructure by ensuring that more masts are built and a lot of other equipment are, there for all their base stations to ensure that, some of us who are technology dependent and ensuring that we due to the digital age that we are in now, the operators must appreciate that they need to be up in their game to improve services.
Okay, so lastly, before I let you go, how can the essence of this day be domesticated in Nigeria to achieve the SDG goals, particularly with COVID-19? How can we use the essence of the day to achieve? Yes.
So I couldn't hear the question.
How can we use the essence of the day to domesticate the goals of telecommunications in Nigeria?
In Nigeria?
Yes, amid COVID-19.
Oh, post-COVID-19?
Yes.
Right. There should be a lot of synergy between the operators and the regulator. For instance, there are a lot of conspiracy theories going on 5G and stuff, affecting COVID-19 and stuff. Sorry, I must tell you that the regulator has a lot to do in this, so that they should call in stakeholders to ensuring that scientists, particularly telecom scientists, to ensure that they dissuade the public from believing this COVID-19 conspiracy theory linked with 5G. It's rather unfortunate, but the regulator and the operators should ensure that there are layer affairs that, there's no relation between 5G and COVID-19.
Thank you very much for those insights there.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
That was Deolu Ogubanjo giving us insight on the World Telecommunication and Information Day. Moving on, amid the ease of lockdown, the number of patients with COVID-19 who have recovered in Nigeria has doubled in the past week as Brazil overtakes Italy in the number of coronavirus cases in the world. Let's join Joyce Omitu for a weekly review of the health crisis globally.
In the outgone week, the number of COVID-19 cases in Nigeria crossed the 5,000 threshold. A review of the daily reports of COVID-19 cases by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control shows that Nigeria recorded a total of 1,470 new cases in the past week. However, there are positive signs as the country continues to churn out remarkable numbers of recoveries. During the week, 727 new recoveries were documented as the total number of recovered COVID-19 patients in Nigeria surpassed 1,000. But 48 new deaths were recorded across the country last week as against the 43 reported in the previous week. So far, data compiled by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control as at 16th of May shows that Nigeria has a total number of 5,621 cases of COVID-19, 1,472 recoveries, and 176 fatalities. In Africa, the coronavirus pandemic has now spread to every country on the continent. Figures published by Johns Hopkins University as at 6 p.m. reveal 83,715 confirmed cases of the virus across the continent, 2,735 deaths, and 32,348 recoveries. The latest figures show an increase of 21,042 new infections in 7 days. On the global scene, record by Worldometer as at 6 p.m. shows 4,753,024 infections, 313,872 deaths, and over 1.8 million recoveries. The total number of cases worldwide rose by 619,137 in the past week. Brazil now has the 4th highest coronavirus outbreak in the world, surpassing former epicenter Italy. And that's it from here. Many thanks for watching. I am Joyce Ometu.
Many thanks, Joyce. Now, moving on, as the initial period of the ease on coronavirus lockdown draws to an end, President Muhammadu Buhari held a strategic meeting on the best way forward with the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19. Chairman of the task force and secretary to the government of the Federation, Boss Mustafa, gave a hint that new measures and processes may be introduced in the renewed fight against the uncommon health care challenge. Here's Adam Musambo with the rest of the story.
Keeping everything in perspective in the battle against the coronavirus pandemic, members of the Presidential Task Force on COVID-19 once again converged on the nation's seat of government. They are here to compare notes with President Muhammadu Buhari on Nigeria's response to the unseen enemy of mankind as the period for the ease in lockdown comes to an end on Monday. Discussions centered on the activities of the task force, effectiveness or otherwise of the measures introduced so far towards containing the pandemic, as well as available options for future engagement.
What proposals were brought today for consideration of Mr. President, looking at it holistically, it will put us in a better frame to deal with the future. Because we are in for a long haul. This is not a short distance race, it's a marathon, and we have to keep everything in perspective.
The Presidential Task Force remains worried that although a recent opinion poll shows majority of Nigerians being aware of coronavirus, their adherence to the rules of engagement in the fight against the disease leaves much to be desired.
What we intend to do now as a task force is to come down to the level of having the communities take ownership of the response. Let the communities acknowledge the fact that there's a COVID-19 that is deadly, that it can ravage their health and their world. And the most important thing for them to do is to begin to take personal responsibility on dealing with it. All of them should be overseers of their communities. They should watch out for people who have symptoms for testing and isolation. That way you plug them out of the community and you reduce the risk of further transmission.
During the meeting, President Muhammadu Buhari appreciated the task force and those in the front line for their commitment and patriotism in the onerous task of eliminating COVID-19 in Nigeria.
The President expressed his appreciation to all the agencies that have contributed to where we are today, and that in spite of the difficulties and the fact that as a nation we lack the capable infrastructure, looking at what is happening to the developed world, where countries that have traditionally established health institutions with all the palliatives, with all the privileges, with all the schemes that guard its people have crumbled at the wreck of COVID-19. But we are still standing, doing our best in the circumstances to ensure that at least we provide the necessary directions.
Mr. Boss Mustafa says the PTF is yet to take delivery of the Madagascan cure for coronavirus, saying, however, that even after doing so, President Buhari's position that such herbal postulations be dealt with scientifically remains sacrosanct. From the State House, Adamu Sambu, NTA News.
Lagos State government has commended the people in the state for adhering to the rules on open marketing in the state. The governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu, stated this while briefing journalists on COVID-19 virus in the state. He said despite successes recorded in the state within the last few weeks, the use of face masks is compulsory in all public places, and the state government will continue to do its best in curbing the spread of the virus in the state.
Part of the things that we want to immediately begin to implement is what we call relaxing the restriction on our elderly people. I want all our financial institutions and all of our markets, closed markets, especially the malls and stores, to be able to give preference to our elderly meaning 60 years and above. We're also at a level where we are reviewing the other arms of the economy. And so in the coming days ahead, we'll be starting what we call register to open. Meaning that all of the players in the restaurant business, spa business, event centers, entertainment, the malls and the cinemas will go through a form of re-registration and space management. We will be coming to their facility. There will be a regulation that will be coming out, but we'll be supervising and we're coming to their facility to see their level of readiness for a future opening. When that opening will happen in the weeks ahead, I don't know. But we want them to begin to tune themselves to the reality of COVID-19.
Sanwo-Olu said government will continue to monitor the situation in the state. And we're going to take a quick break now. More reports in a moment when we return.
Do you not know that our enemies have no face? They are indigents of no state. They come from no place. And if this boat capsizes, every one of us will go under. So when the drums sound, let everybody answer. Do not say, I am the Iroko when the forest is burning. Do not say, I am the Obeche when the forest is burning. Our differences will not stop us from perishing together. So when the drums sound, let everybody answer.
Welcome back. Nigerians have been called upon to support federal and state governments' fight against the coronavirus pandemic. The Emir of Daura, Alhaji Umar Faruk Umar, made the call in Katsina after being discharged from hospital. He says government is spending huge amounts of money to ensure the safety of lives of Nigerians against the dreaded COVID-19. The Emir acknowledged the concern and support of President Mahmoud Buhari, Governor Aminu Masari and other Nigerians while on admission at the hospital. The House of Representatives says the decision of the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja concerning a suit on the infectious disease bill was misinterpreted to mislead the media. The Chairman House Committee on Media and Publicity, Representative Benjamin Kalu, in a statement says that though the applicants in the case sought an order for the suspension of consideration of the Infectious Disease Control Bill by the House, the court at no point in the interim order grant that relief. The court instead, in its wisdom and interest of justice, ordered the respondents in the case to appear before it on the 20th of May 2020 and enter a defense before making a make a decision in terms of the case. Now, the Nasarawa State government has conveyed its profound appreciation to Federal Road Safety Corps for deploying additional 2 life support ambulances to complete our team of personnel to the state, describing the gesture as uncommon, indelible, and unprecedented in the fight against coronavirus pandemic. The statement by the Corps Public Education Officer BC Kazim indicated that the handing over of the life support ambulances was on Friday, 15th of May 2020 in Lafayette, the state capital. In a statement by the Commissioner for Health, Ahmed Yahaya, the Nasarawa State government lauded the Corps' continued show of commitment and support towards the fight against the global health challenge through deployment of personnel to enforce orders, as well as provision of adequate ambulance service for the evacuation of identified coronavirus patients. Advising the citizenry to keep faith with the government in the efforts to combat the pandemic, OAME assured that the Corps must continue to live up to its responsibilities in the ongoing fight against coronavirus pandemic in the country. President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the renewal of the tenure of Benjamin Akabweze as Director General of the Budget Office of the Federation. Mr. Akabweze was first appointed as a special advisor planning to the President in February 2016 and later appointed as DG Budget same year to handle the nagging issues in the Budget Office at that time. In a statement signed by Special Advisor Media and Communications to the Honorable Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Yunusa Tanko Abdullahi, Akabweze has a track record of sterling performance, and it's due to this achievement that President Muhammadu Buhari approved his second tenure term in order to institutionalize the achievements for sustainable improvement in the Budget Office of the Federation. President Muhammadu Buhari has authorized the commencement of a major military operation to sweep bandits and kidnappers out of Katsina State, a major proactive operation by special forces which details are being kept secret is now in progress to replace the reactive strikes against insurgent camps. In a statement signed by Senior Special Assistant to the President, Media and Publicity set to give a full effect to the exercise, a planning team is already in the state selecting targets and making preparations for the execution of the unprecedented operation. The Chief of Defense Staff, General Gabriel Oloni Shakin, who has been measured in issuing official statements on the oncoming exercise, briefed the President on the plan he intends to flag off shortly. President Buhari, who expressed sadness over the recent attacks in the state, extended his condolences to the families of those killed and prayed for the recovery of the injured. And still on security, willing, able and ready is the battle cry of NAF Special Forces operatives deployed to support the NAF 22 QRW and other operatives in Nasarawa State to put an end to banditry and other security threats. Defense correspondent Najat Tijani reports. We'll bring you details of that report in our subsequent bulletin. Time now for sports update.
Who in 2018 in Lagos agreed to join hands with the Handball Federation of Nigeria in the development of the sport. From the grassroots, decided to use the National League as a starting point. The Handball National League, which is featuring male and female categories, supposed to organize the first stage of the third edition in Abuja in April, but could not come up due to coronavirus pandemic, which has adversely affected sports world over. Hence, the palliatives, first of its kind, from a sponsor to cushion the effects of COVID-19. The sponsor of Prudent Energy Handball Premier League approved a sum of 5.5 million naira as palliatives to be shared among players in the Premier League.
We came into this, knowing very well that we have budding stars in Nigeria, and they do not have the opportunity. And we felt it was incumbent on us as a corporate entity to invest in the youth.
The president of the federation, Sam Ochewu, who appreciated the guests, who assured that the money will be evenly distributed.
This palliative, it is principally for players of the Premier League, and it will be shared 250,000 naira by each of the team. They've also decided to extend a bit to the Premier League referees and officials too.
With a palliative that will go a long way in solving some problems of some families and players and coaches alike.
By giving palliative to all the players, all the coaches, all the referees, all the match delegates, and the tournament director.
They collectively, with the sponsor, look forward to the league resuming at the end of COVID-19 so that handballers can continue doing what they love doing best. In Lagos, Kehinde Lamidi, NTA Sports.
Let's take a look at Monday's weather prospects for Nigerian cities and other parts of the globe.